To Wall Street now, where investors are bracing for yet another ugly start to the day. Dow futures have been pointing to a major sell-off all morning.
Rick Newman from Yahoo Finance is on the phone with us right now. Rick, always good to talk to you. What can you tell us about today?
Well, markets are jittery, as they have been. We're going to see this for a while. The buzzword for 2016, as it was for 2015, is volatility. We do have this concerning report out of North Korea, which it seems like everyone's trying to figure out, and will probably take a little while. But this news about whatever this sort of atomic weapon test seems to be is not something that is directly going to affect financial markets. It seems like that's a big surprise. We need to digest that, but I think we'll eventually, and perhaps even today, start looking more at actual economic data rather than these sort of upsetting geopolitical events.
You know, Rick, when we spoke the other day, China and the rocky start that China had was the big story. I'm wondering, prior to the news of what happened in North Korea, how are Asian markets doing? Did they seem to be rebounding?
They stabilized after the big plunge of 7% in the Chinese markets on Monday. But there was more sort of disappointing economic news out of China today. Weakness in the service sector, that's actually pretty important. Again, we're not talking about a sort of a crash of the Chinese economy. The Chinese economy is still growing. It's probably going to grow somewhere around 6% this year, could be 7%. That's pretty good, but that's a lot lower than the double-digit gains we used to see out of China, and it's a big slowdown for them. So we're adjusting to that. It's not a crash. It's a slowdown. And meanwhile, it's worth pointing out, we actually got some good economic news from the United States this morning, which is one job report, the ADP employment report, close to 260,000 jobs created in December here in the United States. That was higher than estimates. And we're going to get more information today when we see the minutes from the last Federal Reserve meeting in September. So that will probably start to move the markets by this afternoon rather than whatever seems to be happening in Asia.
That is good news here. Rick, real quick, let's go and talk about oil prices now trading below $35 a barrel.
Well, this is something the markets are very focused on at the moment, and we have to sort of get the cause and effect correct here. Markets don't particularly care that oil prices are low, but they care because they interpret low oil prices as a reflection of weakness in the economy. So the thinking is if oil prices are just keep going down, that may tell us that there are weaknesses in the economy that are worse than we thought they were, and that is particularly has to do with, again, China. But something that kind of gets lost in all of this is that low oil prices are just a terrific boon for consumers. I mean, this is basically free money for consumers everywhere in the world. While, yes, there are some downsides to this, it does hurt the domestic oil and gas industry here in the United States. It does hurt some companies, but on balance, it probably helps companies overall. American consumers are saving a lot of money, and so are businesses that have to pay for energy, and that's most businesses. So this is still a net gain, and I think that sometimes gets overshadowed because markets are just worried right now.
I like that, Rick. A little bit of a silver lining. Rick Newman from Yahoo Finance, thanks a lot for your insight. We're going to keep watching the market all day for our viewers.